Hello everyone, this is SwibSK bringing you a Let's Play of Dwarf Fortress. I Dwarf Fortress, and so can you. I'm currently running on version 15 of the Lazy Noob pack, which at the time is the most recent. Once you've downloaded it, links are in the description. You just drag and drop and extract into another folder, and you've just installed Dwarf Fortress. It's quite simple. This is the Lazy Noob pack. Graphical user interface, or GUI. I'll explain to you what all these buttons do quite briefly. Population cap is the maximum amount of dwarfs you can have in your fortress. Default is set at 200. I think that's a good number. If your machine's crazy, you can put it up to 250, but I think I'm going to keep it at 200. Invaders, baddies, goblins, these will come and get you if you have this on. This is a challenge, and I think it's good to introduce new players to this quite early on. That Dwarf Fortress is fun. And there is a challenge, so I'm going to keep this one on. Child cap is the maximum number of children you can have in your fortress per adult. Right now it's 100 to 1,000. Cave-ins, if you have large unsupported sections, they will cave in, or if you have floating floors, they will fall. I like to keep this on so you don't have these kind of floating platforms, but if you want to do something crazy, you can leave that off, and you can have these neat structures, like a floating castle in the sky. Temperature. Things like freezing, lighting stuff on fire, it's good to have on. Liquid depth for fluid simulation. More detailed fluid simulation, I like to have this on. It's also great for magma. Weather, rain, snow, hail, sunny, out, cloudy, all sorts of fun stuff. Very ground is usually just for texture packs. Aquifers can be very difficult to deal with. They're infinite sources of water, as the tooltip says. They can be quite difficult to deal with. I'll run another tutorial on how to deal with them because they are quite difficult. Graphics set, if you don't know already, Dwarf Fortress is an ugly game. Both menus, and I'm trying to help you through this one. Unless you want your eyes to burn, I suggest using Iron or Phobius. I'll be using Phobius just because I can. You just install yes to all the prompts. Utilities, I'll be running through these a little bit later. Advanced sound, no. Intro movie, no, unless you want to watch them on your first time. FPS counter, and these are all just kind of random technical things. Autosave I like to have on seasonal, and I like to have it pause on all the saves. Compress saves disk space, but sometimes you have bugs with your saves. I have lots of disk space, so I'm not too worried about this one. Backup saves. It makes backup of every save. I would suggest doing this if you're on autosave yearly or non, because they're quite useful, and it's just even useful to have in general. Once you have all these options set, you can set them however you like. Again, aquifers are not fun to have on the first time, and you can leave the key bindings alone. These are just for comfort, but I'm going to be using the default key bindings. I'm pretty sure Default and Lazy Noob are the same, but I haven't actually experimented with the Lazy Noob. And you hit Dwarf Fortress, and Dwarf Fortress runs. I'm going to resize this, and I'm going to be right back. So we're just going to run through world generation now. Dwarf Fortress generally doesn't use the cursor at all, so it's a completely keyboard-based game. And we're going to hit Create New World. Or unless this is updated since then. You should definitely try and help out Bay 12 Games. They make this game, and it's just the creator and his brother. They make this game and live completely off donations. We're gonna have a smaller world size for ease of generation because it takes a while to generate on the larger sizes. Smaller is fine. History, short, again, just for generation time. You can have very long, but this just determines how many years. You can interrupt it. 125 should be enough. Because we're on world size, we want a lower amount of civilizations. This is just kind of how many civilizations are there. You know how many distinct humans, elves, dwarfs, goblin civilizations exist. Maximum number of sites, we're going to leave it medium. Number of beasts, medium. Natural savagery, medium. These dictate how difficult it will be to how many difficulties you'll run into with beasts, and just kind of how angry the world is at you. Mineral occurrence, very rare, makes the game very difficult. Rare makes the game difficult. Sparse is relatively easy, so we're going to use these settings. Frequent and everywhere also make the game a little bit more challenging in their own way. If you use everywhere, because you can't find many rocks at all, so rocks are important. So we're going to run it with world size smaller, history short, number of civilizations low, maximum number of sites medium, number of beasts savagery both medium, and mineral occurrence sparse. So we hit Y to go, and this is the mini map right now. It's generating. It takes much longer if you're on a larger world set. You can move around. The flashing X is your cursor. Move around just with the arrow keys. We've got the Dwarven Mountain Halls of Rigo Thidash. The Dark Goblin Fortress. There should be an Elven one somewhere around here. The Wall of Dimpling. That might be fun to go to in Adventurers mode. Everything's got a unique name. More Goblin Fortresses. Doesn't look like there's elves or humans on this map. Top left there might be. Yeah, there's Elvens. There's no humans though. Or this might be a human. I don't think so. I don't think there's humans. That should be okay. You don't need humans, just elves and dwarves and goblins should be okay. So you hit enter to accept. Yours will probably look a little bit different than mine. It'll bring you back to the main menu, and this is where you want to hit enter on start playing. Dwarf Fortress, Adventure, and Legends, they're all different game types. I might do tutorials on them later, but right now we're on Dwarf Fortress. The name of the world, comma, your folder. So this is the world exploration map. In the left column you have kind of your local. You move your local using the U, M, K, and H keys. They're kind of like the secondary arrow keys in Dwarf Fortress. And as you can see, I'm moving that around and I'm pressing U, M, and H, and K. That's your local. And then in the middle column is your region. You move that with your arrow keys. They happen to be very close to the same because we're on a smaller world size. If you're in a larger world, you would move region for quite some time, and world wouldn't be changed very much. You can also resize your local area by holding shift and pressing U, M, H, and K. And that will, the default is 4x4. That's good on most every type of computer, but because we've chosen a certain set of parameters that are generally lower on, they don't eat at your CPU as much, we're going to probably do 5x5. So it'll be a little bit more interesting. It resets every time you press the cursor though. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit F. And F finds a desired location. So we're going to have a 5x5. Savagery, evil, elevation, temperature. These all don't matter too much. Generally temperature, I want to put on medium because if it freezes out, your dwarfs can die of thirst. Rain, drainage. Fluxstone is good to have. Aquifer. I've already turned off aquifer, so there shouldn't be any. River. We don't need a river. Shallow metal, deep metal, soil, and clay are all good to have. And we're going to do enter to search, and it searches tile by tile where these viable things are. And so right now where it's blinking is where the viable biomes are. Now you hit escape and it brings you back to your results list. These are deserts. This is a grassland. Generally you want to settle in the mountains, but we won't do that this time. The mechanics of the game are quite similar. Let's go by the river. There is no trees or vegetation here, so that will be difficult. Let's very deep soil, shallow metal. Let's try to find on the local where it says to do these things. There's a difference between salt water and fresh water in this game. Your dwarfs can't actually drink salt water. They aren't cats. Here's a good one. Untamed Wilds is going to be a little bit challenging, but it should be alright. Generally, I'm going to run through this list very quickly. This is kind of what your region is. If it's up north in the cold, I suggest not doing that until you're a more advanced player. Temperate savanna is just fine temperature. Hot and cold, you generally want to avoid as they bring their own unique set of challenges, but temperate is just fine. Trees, sparse should be okay. Anything less than sparse, again, I'd say advanced only. Other vegetation, moderate and up, is quite fine. Surrounding, I wouldn't go with Untamed Wilds, but because I'm a more experienced player, I can show you how to deal with that. But again, I would do a little bit less than Untamed Wilds, and you have a stream, which is fine. Let's see if we can actually tone down the wilds a little bit. Very deep soil. You don't want very deep soil. Clay is there clay on the map? That's good for easy digging. Digging in clay is very easy, and you can set up your home in the clay very easily. Deep soil. How far the soil goes down before it turns into rock. Yeah, so there's shallow, deep, very deep. Generally, you only want shallow, but deep soil is okay. Shallow metal. How far down you have to go before you get metal. Deep metal, and flexstone allows you to make alloys, which are generally good. So this looks okay. And a stream, break burn the tentacles of rooting. Very good. So we're going to hit E for embark. It's a large area. Choose a smaller area if you experience lags. I think we'll be okay. You can prepare for your journey carefully, or you can just use the lazy newb pack. You can spend a good hour or two, and there's a whole bunch of different prepare challenges you can do. We're just going to use the lazy newb pack, and these are all your dwarfs, skills, and tab. You can look at your items, copper. If you're going to design one, there are a few essentials you need. You need copper picks, you need alcohol, and you need food. You probably also need an axe, which is, you also need an anvil. You need picks, anvil, alcohol, and food. Those are the most important ones. You probably also need an axe, but battle axe is the same as a woodcutting axe, so this one's okay. And you hit E again to embark, and it loads. It may or may not crash. So this is the Dwarven Outpost. You've arrived after a journey from the mountain homes into the forbidden wilderness beyond. Your harsh trek has finally ended, and your party of 7 is to make an outpost for the glory of all Tobal Omrist. There were almost no supplies left, but with your stout labor comes sustenance, whether by bolt, plow, or hook, provide for you, your dwarfs. You are expecting a supply caravan just before the winter entombs you, but it is a spring now, enough time to delve. Secure lodgings are. Dingoes get hungry. These texts are procedurally generated, and that's what I like about Dwarf Fortress. A new chapter of Dwarven history begins here, at this place called Catanag Chaneldob. Strike the earth.